There's something that all great memorable solos have in common, and it's often overlooked when talking about this in a blues rock context. As guitar players, we all gravitate toward the minor pentatonic scale, but why is it that so many people struggle to make it sound It's often that the average guitar player doesn't actually know the good notes to hit in this particular scale, especially when moving through a chord progression. In this video, I'm going to show you 3 licks that demonstrate this concept perfectly. Now, Kingfish plays these licks in his song called Rock and Roll. There's a link in the description if you want to check it out. But it demonstrates a masterful approach to some really, really tasteful playing. Nothing overly flashy, although the last lick is a bit of a handful. You can get the tabs to everything that you hear in this lesson over on Patreon, as well as my own take that uses these concepts. And that full solo is available over on Patreon, as well as the backing track that I use to demonstrate these ideas. So the whole idea of this lesson is to understand the intention behind what Kingfish is playing. There's a reason these notes sound so good. It's not random. It's not just by chance. He's hitting chord tones when the chords change. That's the whole idea. So we need to know the chord progression so we can understand what's actually happening. It starts with a B minor chord and then goes to a G and a D. Now, what's a really good exercise is playing that chord progression all over the fretboard. I'm going to give you 3 positions to practice it. And you can isolate different string sets, and then I'm going to show you how to use the embellishments before we get into the first lick. Really, really fun stuff here. So we've got B minor for full bar, G to a D. So B minor, G to a D. Let's do it up here. Like, all of that stuff is really, really fun, and all I'm doing is visualizing the chord shapes, right, along the fretboard. Let's go a little bit further up. B minor here, G to a D. Back to here, right, G. So you can see there the chord shapes are kind of informing the kinds of lines that I'm playing, but it really, really highlights the chord progression beautifully. And it's really nice to visualize these shapes when you start jumping into some single note playing, which is what we're going to do. Let's jump into the first lick. Okay, so this is actually the first sort of solo section. I'm going to move pretty fast, guys. I'm going to be yelling out some chord tones. You're going to learn the solo as we go along. So let's get into it. Now, the first chord is obviously B minor. This line leads nicely into the perfect fifth of B minor. So landing on that 11th fret of the G string, that's the perfect fifth of B minor. It's a solid note to hit, right? And he's coming from the D chord, right? So it's a perfect run up to that B minor chord. Then he's going to go, that's all B minor pentatonic, right? And then the next thing that happens is over the G chord, which is just B minor pentatonic, and it works well over the G chord because he's going to land on the major third of D and then the root note of D. Right? So you can pass through the G chord by playing some sort of standard B minor or D major ideas. As long as you're resolving to that D chord with the chord tones, it sounds cool, right? So that full line sounds like this. 2, 3. Right? And in fact, that note there is the major 7 over the G. And then landing on the 5th of G. So the chord tones are still in that line. It still works. The next line sounds like this. That's all over the B minor chord. Now, landing on the flat 7 of B minor sounds cool. It works well. That's all sort of highlighting a minor 7 sound over the B minor chord, going down the pentatonic scale, right? Landing on the minor 3rd of that B, right? And then check out this move. This is really, really cool, sort of Hendrixy. What's happening here is this is landing on the G chord. That's a major 3rd of G. I'm imagining this shape. Major 3rd of G and the perfect 5th of G. Hammering into that major 3rd. Walking down the D major scale or G major scale or B minor scale, whichever way you want to think of it. Right? And then landing on the root note of D when the D chord happens. That's a really sweet move. Sounds really, really cool. So that gives you a good insight into that first little section. Let's move on to a couple of lines from the last solo. So if you want the tab and playthrough to the entire solo, as well as my personal take on the solo using these ideas, head over to Patreon. There's a 7-day free trial happening at the moment. There's heaps of goodies that come with this, as well as the backing track that you can play to minus the guitar. So you can really, really get inside this track and work on those chord changes. All right, so we're leading into the B minor chord, beat 1 of the progression, which is B minor. And he actually plays part of a B minor 7 arpeggio. Starts on the note B, which is 14th fret of the A string, goes up to the minor 3rd, hits the flat 7 and bends into the root note. I really like the sound of this. Check it out. That is sick, right? So landing on the root note of B when that first chord happens of the progression. And then I really like this idea. Right? So we're hitting root note, and then that's the 5th, and then stretching up to the perfect 4th, and then hitting 12th fret of the E string. So you'd sort of double up on that note, and then reaching for the perfect 5th of B minor, playing down to the minor 3rd and the flat 7 again. So you've got a D chord or a B minor 7, or partially a B minor 7 chord happening there. So that full lick sounds like this. I mean, that is really, really tasty over that B minor chord. And then what happens is he hits a G note when the G chord happens, and then he walks down. I guess this could be considered like a D kind of major blues type sound. That's really spelling out a D major chord going through the blues note. Right, so that full line sounds like this. Really, really tasty stuff, all following the chord progression. Let's move on to the next lick. Alright, this one's nice and fast. I really dig the idea here. We're going to be playing B minor pentatonic and kind of ignoring the G chord in a way, but then resolving to the D nice and smoothly. So he sets up this lick nicely by bending from the minor 3rd up to a 4th, and then hitting the minor 3rd on the downbeat of the B minor chord. Right, again, a chord tone of the chord progression, and then the fast part of the lick happens. Let's get into it. So we're playing 16th note triplets. I'm going to group these as obviously as I can. So this is what happens. It's all in position 1 of the minor pentatonic scale, starting on the root note. There's our first 3 notes. And then we're going to hit the 9th fret and do a full tone bend. Okay, so far we got this. And then the next 3 notes are root note, perfect 5th, and then flat 7. Okay, and then we're going to do sort of like the inverse of that. That's how I think of it, which is just root note, flat 7, and then 5th. Okay, so far we got this. Okay. Then we're going to hit the 4th again, which is 9th fret of the G, do a full tone bend, up the scale, okay, and then the last little bit before we're home free, okay, is that. Use whatever fingers you want. So far we got this. Okay, and then that leads us to the start of the bar of G. All we're going to do is just go down the minor pentatonic scale starting on the 9th fret, G, and then play 2 more notes, okay? And that concludes the use of 16th note triplets. You can pull off if you like. And then to resolve it, that leads nicely to the D, okay? So this is what it sounds like. Remember that fast part starts on beat 2 because this note, the minor third of B, takes up the entirety of beat 1. So this is the fast part. Here it is a bit faster. Really, really sweet line that resolves nicely to the D major chord, and that ends the solo. If you want my own take on the solo using these ideas, some really, really cool stuff in there, head over to Patreon, as well as the tab to everything that you hear in this video is going to be available for the members over there. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. See you on the next one.